There's been a lot of talk about the SaaSpocalypse and how SaaS is dead. And that's given me a few things to think about. I mean, I'll admit it, I'm in SaaS, I'm a founder. So sure, I have a bit of a bias, but the more I've been thinking about it, uh, I think there's some fundamentals that haven't really changed and that maybe people have missed. So the first thing that triggered this to me, and I thought like, wow, I should make a little video about it, was I was watching a video. I think it was Anthony Scaramucci, and he had one of his investment friends on, and they were talking about how they have seen. They were speaking to a VC, and the VC had done some sort of. They were talking to about a potential acquisition or something to some startup. And they were saying that, we went in there hoping to buy this, but at the end of the day, we said, no, we can just build this ourselves with like 4 guys and 2 months. And, that might be true, but if it's that easy, where's the moat? I mean, if you build that, someone else can just build it as well, right? I mean, if there is no effort in building that tech side, then there is kind of zero competitive advantage. And I mean, I don't see how that has changed from back in the day. Like you can, even 10 years ago, a lot of things can be replicated by a team of outsourced developers, right?
Yes.
So that's number one. I don't think that has changed that much. The second point, yeah, sure, code is cheap now, right? But it's always kind of been relatively cheap. You think of a tech company or a SaaS company and you think it's all developers. But looking at a lot of SaaS companies that I know, and especially ourselves, developer salaries are a really small part of our budget. Operations is what's expensive. That and marketing, sales, marketing, operations. It has never just been about the code. I mean, me and my co-founder have talked about this in the past, and we've like, what happens if our code leaks, right? If somehow a disgruntled employee or a contractor just put your code out there, right?
You didn't say the magic word.
Please! God damn it! Hate this hacker crap.
And I've never thought that's a real risk. Sure, people can probably see a few things how you do it, but we have the code and it is hard. You've got to sell this thing. You've got to convince people. You've got to really make it usable and build relationships with people. Having the code is not the be all and end all. Is it important? Of course it's important, right? But that's just the beginning. Similarly, open source has existed for a while, right? And it's not like commercial software has gone out of business. Marketing, customer support, onboarding, I think it comes down to trust, right? So businesses want to buy solutions and they want to trust the people that help them solve their problems. And to me, that always comes back to people, not the bits and bytes even necessarily, right? Okay, let's move on to point number 3. So I've got some notes here. So point number 3, vibe coding and the maintenance trap. So vibe coding isn't actually all that new, right? I mean, I'm going to give my age away here now, but I remember DBase, Access, Excel, Visual Basic, all these things have existed for a long time, which makes it easy for people to build some of their own kind of apps in the business, right? And yes, this has gotten now a lot easier with AI, but it still kind of takes a little bit of a kind of a technical person to try and write that, right? Also, I don't think in a business necessarily that every single person is going to build their own separate app, right? People want to work together. So just now, how like there's one person who builds a specific spreadsheet and then shares it about. There will be someone who builds this app, right? Who vibe codes it. It kind of takes ownership of it and then has to teach everyone in the business how to use it. But it's the same issue as we have today. Like if that person leaves, who's going to take over? Who is now going to figure out all the intricacies and train people if they don't have anyone to go to when they have questions anymore? And also it's a moving target, right? I mean, your software, talks of other things out there, right? It needs to get its data, and things like APIs change all the time, so it needs constant maintenance. Now, you just ask the agent, right, to update it, but still, someone has to do that and have a basic understanding of how it fits together and how to host it and deploy it. So, sure, some companies are going to do that, but again, there are already companies who do that today. I mean, I've worked at places where we had a in-house developer team or people who will write software applications to use in the business. This is not new, right? But is a small plumbing business going to now also become an IT maintenance company? I don't know.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
It's not for free, right? There's a human aspect to it and a constant maintenance aspect. Okay, point number 4. Let's talk about compliance. Just because you can build something, I don't think you necessarily should build something. Like for me, the main thing is, for instance, accounting software. Or HR software. If there are real world consequences for getting it wrong, I would want someone else to blame. Like when we write our own software, I'm a developer and I am not trying to build my own accounting software, even though I probably could vibe code something. It's because once the auditor shows up, we can say like, hey, look, we were using QuickBooks, we were using Xero. If there is something wrong, talk to them. I mean, it's why we still have accountants as well, even though there's accounting software, right? I don't think any of that's going to be replaced. You want someone and with experience, know the pitfalls, track all the laws, all the changes to laws and regulations. Sometimes people buy SaaS software just to outsource the risk. Okay, number 5, the death of perceived pricing. I think this is kind of more what's happening. I don't think it's the death of SaaS. I think it's the death of how things are being priced. It's not killing the software, it's killing the pricing model. So if AI makes companies hire fewer people, then SaaS companies lose some of their per user revenue, right? So I think SaaS companies should and will move more to kind of outcome-based results. So you pay for the specific result, and instead of just some arbitrary made-up seats or divisions, right? So you're not going to pay for a 10-user license. You're going to be paying for like, I want 1,000 resolved tickets. And ultimately, that is kind of what the vibe coding thing is as well. I mean, the vibe code is not free either. You're paying in tokens. And a lot of times the workflows that you build into it is going to use agents and agentic workflows to do stuff, which again costs tokens. So paying for tokens is paying for an outcome. So I think the SaaS models will adapt and do basically similar. You're going to be paying for an outcome, not necessarily just paying for the software as such, right? It's almost like in this agentic age, the how you get to the solution doesn't really matter as much. You just want that solution and you're happy to pay for it. Now, if that involves paying a specialist or a consultant, I hate the word consultant, but someone who's an expert to help you with that, yep, that's fine. And maybe they use AI, right? Or if you pay the AI directly, but you're paying Anthropic, you're paying OpenAI, right? Or if you pay a SaaS that has kind of abstracted some of that away, but behind the scenes, they're doing the same thing. They're vibe coding. They are, using AI tokens. So it's just a matter of, who is that interface between things for you. So I think that's kind of where things are going, which then leads me into the next section here. I think it is SaaS killing SaaS, not AI killing SaaS, or business owners. And specifically, I think it is large SaaS businesses killing like little micro niche SaaSes. So the big platforms are now using AI to vibe code, and they can add all these little modules they never had time for. They can add that so much quicker and in record time now. And so, I had this very niche little SaaS that did one thing that then integrated back into this other bigger platform. The bigger platform is just going to be able to build that now really quickly, really easily. So I think that's what's happening. Yes, a lot of smaller niche plugins or bridging apps are disappearing. So for sure, that's a little SaaSpocalypse, but that's more like the niche SaaSpocalypse, right? Yeah, and then the last thing that plays into that and why a bigger platform is probably still always going to be a good choice. Generating the UI is incredibly easy right now, right? That's kind of the main thing you see when you're vibe coding. It's about building user interfaces. And I mean, we do that ourselves here, at Wink as well. But the hard part is structuring the data correctly, So non-technical users can easily generate a new UI, but they don't necessarily understand architecture, relational data, trackability, logging. So a big part, I think, is that you ask for, because you start small when you vibe code, right? And so you might ask for a specific UI, and it builds you something, and it has CRUD functions, it persisted. But then you say, okay, I want to add this feature, and it just kind of gets added in ad hoc because the agent is just solving for that next step, But then you get to this spaghetti mess eventually, and that you start having state issues and things get out of sync, or there's a lot of bugs. And so I think there'll always be a place where there was proper planning put in place ahead of time that gives you these kind of Lego blocks or building blocks to store the data in a way that doesn't paint yourself into a corner, right? And then users can go nuts, right? Build your apps, vibe code what you need, put it on top of it, but then it can deal with this these almost kind of vouched for building blocks that make up that application that you're building. So I think that's kind of where it's going. You're already seeing a little bit of that. So yeah, I think it's interesting at least though, right? I mean, what I do like about all this is it has really democratized it. It's like in the movie Ratatouille, right? They're saying the agentic and the AI coding has made it so that anyone can build a SaaS app, right? but it doesn't mean that everyone will do so or should even do so, right? So it doesn't matter your background, where you're coming from. If you have a great idea, you could build it. But there are a lot of other skills involved as well. It's like on YouTube. Anyone can be a creator. It doesn't matter your background, but it doesn't mean everyone will be a creator, because there's just so much more to it than getting to 1 million subscribers. It's not easy. Okay, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Add some comments. Let's talk. Let's start the conversation. Also, maybe give us a little like. That really helps us. We're trying to get this new channel started, so I really appreciate it.